right, guys, let me know if everything sounds good. I think the levels are pretty good. I did a little bit of testing before we got started. I'm not wearing my headphones and I don't have any speakers out here, but we are live right now in the kitchen of my actual house and we are ready to make a pizza. Now, a couple of you guys might have seen the Twitter video that we made. I made a quick preview of all of this last night and I posted it on Twitter. Frost says we're crisp and clear. That's very good. We are running, and I am more excited about this than anybody else. We're running a 3-camera setup. It's my first time doing multi-cameras for any sort of Twitch stream. We've got, of course, chat cam. This is the one here where I'm going to address you guys. We're going to have conversations. We've got preparation cam. Obviously, we got a keyboard here. We'll get that out of here when we're making food. So we've got prep cam here where we can do some work. You can see the lovely rugs that my wife and I have in the kitchen. And of course, we've got stove cam over there. Bowmaster says no purple shirt. I considered the purple shirt. I really did consider it, but I think this is a little more celebratory. This is maybe this is the cooking shirt. The other one is the we're doing some mathematics shirt. I don't know. Max Willis, hello, and thanks for the follow. I'm gonna catch up on events like that. Let me exit out of World of Warships real quick. So Warships is gone. That means I don't need these anymore. Put the headphones over here on the desk. And I boosted the voice just a touch. Let me know if it is still a little bit low. I'm gonna check in on chat, find out what's going on. Max, thanks for the follow. Big thank you. Oh my God, Chief Benjamin is here and brought a raid. Sorry guys, I couldn't see that. I'm in an odd setup. I had no idea you guys were showing up with a raid. Thank you so much. What the heck, dude? You're a legend, and this is going to be fantastic. Tonight, now, a lot of you raiders were probably here to watch World of Warships. This is a special stream that my chat has basically funded with channel points where we're going to make a pizza. I'm going to teach you how to make it. In fact, right now on the screen, you can see right there. It'll come back here in a few seconds. It's too loud. Is it like super loud? No, Bishy, don't mess with me, man. Okay, voice level sounds good. Okay, we're in great shape then. We've got, we're gonna make a pizza. I'm gonna teach you how to make it. I'm gonna give you the recipe. I'm gonna tell you about all the tools that we use. And at the end of the day, we're just gonna do the entire thing. We're gonna go from nothing to pizza, right? And so Altran is messing with the commands. Those do have a bit of a timeout on them, but unfortunately, if shoutouts are broken, so are those. So give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna hit that reset of the bot. So give me just a brief moment and I'll leave you here with some screens. So we fixed it. we had to just turn off and turn back on CloudBot. So Bowmaster, all your commands, everything should work again. We're gonna have those things on there. There is a cooldown timer for each one, so we won't see them spammed too often, but that graphic is gonna come back and let you guys know. So if you want the recipe for the pizza, you're gonna be able to do !recipe and you're gonna get that pizza recipe and you'll be able to go do that. This is a recipe from YouTube chef Adam Ragusea. He's very popular. You may have heard of him before. You may have seen his videos before. You may have made this pizza before because it's very, very popular. I am not any more special than Mr. Ragusea. I'm just a guy who likes to make a pizza every now and again. And this is one of the pizzas that I like to make. So we are gonna make this pizza from scratch. We're gonna make the dough, we're gonna make the sauce, and then we're gonna cook the whole darn thing. So it should be a lot of fun. Now, as I was showing the crew earlier, we do have a multi-camera setup. We've got chat cam, this is where I'm talking to y'all. We've got prep cam right here so you guys can see what it is we're doing and how we're gonna put the pizza together. And then of course, when we get to cooking it, we're gonna have stove cam, and that's my cast iron pan over there, recently oiled up and ready to go. So if you guys are following along at home, and many of you actually might have all of the ingredients you need to make this recipe, you would be very, very welcome to try to follow along at home. Because we're doing this real time, we're doing it live, you guys would be able to get done and have pizza about the same time as me. Now, that's a little bit sauce and gravy and should take 3 or 4 hours to make, which would be pretty great. By the way, what is this? E001's father. Hello, thanks for the follow, appreciate it a ton. Chief Engine Man, again, big thank you for the raid. Alteran, thank you for the subscription. Sturgy Pooch here 2 days ago. Okay, I think I'm caught up on events. I'm stoked you guys are here. Von Richthofen says, what time is it where you are? Now, for me, it's about 8:45 p.m., so it's a late dinner here on the west coast of the United States. So that is what's going on. Swanee has hit the Discord there if you want to join our Discord. A lot of World of Warships talk in there, things of that nature. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do today, guys, is take a look. If you look at the recipe, if you're interested in this, you can take a look at the top. I've included 3 tables here that are about the dough ingredients. So if you just want to make 1 pizza, you follow this recipe. If you want to make 2 pizzas, that one. And if you want to make 4 pizzas, that one. You can do math, whatever. Adam Ragusea's recipe just gives the 1 pizza recipe, and that's annoying for me because a lot of times I want to make 2. If I make 2 pizzas for me and my wife, we'll need the 2 pizza recipe. And then some days, because of the way this recipe works, I make 4 and I put a couple of the dough slugs in the refrigerator so they can rise for a couple of days while chilled. And we'll talk about all that as we get going. But the recipe for the dough is pretty simple. Pizza dough is not a very complicated thing. We're gonna need some yeast, some sugar, water, some bread flour, although if you don't have bread flour, regular flour will work. And then a little bit of salt. Bowmaster's given the time, 8:45 p.m. That is for sure. Where are you, GMAC? That doesn't make any sense at all. GMAC's on another planet. But that's all good. So I'm gonna grab a bowl here. Oh, hang on. All right. Grab my apron. This is actually the apron I use when I'm doing woodworking in the garage, but it works really well in the kitchen as well. Flour for me. All right, so it's got a big mixing bowl. That's all this is. In fact, let me switch this to prep cam while we're doing this. So we got our mixing bowl right hither. And we can get this going. I don't think there's any wood shavings in the pockets. I think we're gonna be good as far as that's concerned. So I know how to make this pizza, but I like to have the recipe close at hand. First thing we're gonna do is get a little bit of warm water in here. And the warm water, thank you for the follow, Von Richthofen. The warm water is gonna help us with activating the yeast. So yeast is like, I don't know, yeast is like a living creature that they sell us and we put into our food. It's actually kind of a horrific thing if you think about it. But I don't know what yeast is. I'm not a chef. Oh, hey, real quick, we need to change this to Clyde Cooks Live, making a pizza, making a pan pizza, and then change our category too. This is going to be food and drink. There it is. Oops. Food and drink. Done. Okay, now we are in the food and drink category. So we got to activate the yeast, and we want some warm water, and we want some sugar in there, which helps the yeast get all active and fueled up. It's a whole nother plane of reality, man. That's where GMAC is. All right. Let me grab a little bit of sugar. I'm gonna grab. Sec. We'll switch you guys back to prep cam so you can see us getting our ingredients together. A little salt. And some yeast. Now, most recipes are just like, put a pack of yeast in there. This one actually has us measure it out. I'm just gonna make a single dough slug. I'm just gonna make 1. So I'm gonna go with a 1/4 teaspoon of dry yeast. Here is a 1/4 teaspoon. It is, here's the camera. It is a very small amount of yeast. And I happen to have this pack from when I made my practice pizza the other day. Oh my gosh. This is like a dumb way to do this. There we go. We're just gonna drop that in there. Fold the rest of this up and save it for later. Master has observed my Vans. Yeah, we got Vans on. If you like Vans, then you're gonna be excited by those. If you don't, then you're gonna be like, what the heck, dude? We got the yeast in there. Just looks like a little, powder or whatever, little pellets. Gonna get some warm water going. My water heater is very, very far away from my kitchen, at least in the terms of the scale of my house. Gonna have that ready to go here. Let that warm up for a second. In the meantime, we'll get our sugar. We need a teaspoon of sugar, which is this one. This is half teaspoon here, so we're gonna throw this up in there. Weird that you put sugar in a 1 teaspoon, yeah, in a pizza dough, but it's all about making that yeast activate. Run that. I don't know how loud that is for you guys, but I'm going to turn that in. Gotta feed the yeast. Feed the beast. Feed the yeast, yeah. So we got our powders in there. And now we just need some warm water. A couple of yeasts on my recipe. We'll put them in. You get to join the party, yeasts. Welcome. So while we're waiting for that water to warm up, you can see I got the sink running back there. We pretty much just got to chill. So we're going to get that going. Oh yeah, there we go. I feel like it's actually like a half cup. It is a half cup. I'm used to making the two back to prep can for y'all. I'm used to making the 2 pizza dough recipe, because normally I don't just make dinner for me. But today, that's what's happening. So then we're gonna swirl that around, mix it up a little bit. Should probably have washed my hands, but since I'm the only one eating this, I'll do that now. Okay, so we got to give the yeast a couple of minutes to activate, right? So basically we got about a 5-minute wait. I usually get my phone out and set a timer. Got a string on my hand there from the towel. That's already been going for a minute or two, so we'll set it for 4 minutes or a little under. And we'll let that run. And while we're waiting on that, we can take a look at the rest of our ingredients. So this first section on the recipe talks about how to make the dough. So if you're kind of curious about that, Ice Cube says, go play a co-op. Basically, you'll mix in a little bit of flour after this point, and then we're going to knead it all together, and a little bit of salt as well. It tends to be a little bit sticky, this dough. Now, Ragusea says that a sticky dough is a really, really good pizza dough. I find it super annoying to work with, so I make mine a little bit drier than he does. But I bet you his tastes a little bit better because he knows more about cooking than I do. I know a little bit about convenience though, and that sticky dough sort of sucks. So I bet you his dough is better, but I hate when it sticks to my hands. So I put a little extra flour on there to kind of get it going, and keep it from being too sticky. GMAC, what are you saying? Yeast be like, feed me Seymour. All right, man, I'll pay attention later. There we go. Flour in your hands. Keep adding flour to the dough. But don't add too much. It should be pretty wet and sticky by the end. Again, I kind of let that go by the wayside sometimes. We are going to use this. We're actually going to do a cast iron pan pizza, Lord Belmar. So we're going to do some of our cooking on the stove top. And then we're going to do the rest of the cooking inside the oven at a high temperature. So we're going to actually cook the bottom of the pizza on the range, and then later when we slip it into the oven, we'll have it on broil at a high temp, and that's going to cook the top of the pizza. So it's kind of a 2-stage cooking process, and it's very fast. Once you actually have things going, you can really kind of do a good job of like cranking these pizzas out. I just realized I totally forgot to do something, but that's okay. We'll start it now. Okay. Yeah, Lord Belmar's asking about a pizza stone or a pizza steel. These are 2 different ways that you can cook a pizza in the oven. Both recommended as well, by the way. I've got a friend who swears by his pizza steel. Fantastic stuff. Okay. How are we doing on our timer? I know, I disappeared for a moment. I went to a place where there are no cameras, so... Got about a minute left to wait. Has anybody here ever watched a cooking stream before? I've only watched a couple. I watched a few in preparation for this, which was all I've ever watched before. Belmar recommends cornmeal. Spoiler alert, we're gonna be talking cornmeal here in a minute. I like it. Yeah, we're gonna do that for sure. So if we look at our prep cam real quick, we can kind of see what's going on. The recipe says, and it looks like we're having good luck with that here, if you can see that, I don't know if you really can, the yeast has floated to the top and it's starting to get a little foamy. And what's going on there is the yeast has been activated and it's starting to like do life processes. Again, I don't know a ton about yeast, and that is generating a gas, that's where the foam comes from. Again, this is pretty aggressive eating of some other life form, but it makes pizza, so I'm okay with it. If somebody knows more about yeast, you know, that would be great, but I don't. So there we go. Our timer is done. It looks like, again, our yeast has floated to the surface here, and it's looking pretty good. So let's go back to prep cam. So what we're going to do is we're going to take about a 1.5 to 2 cups of flour, and we're going to mix that in here with the water. Do not exit stage left and never come back. Oh, and then come back from the right. Yeah, that'd be a kind of a mistake, wouldn't it? Here's my cup down here, which I will dry on this towel you guys can't see that is off camera. This cup just barely fits in this container, which was actually for pretzels back in the day. And this measurement is not a measurement that has to be like perfection, right? It's going to be close to. So it says 1.5 to 2 cups. I'm going to go like 1 2/3 or so, and we'll see how that goes. And then if we need to add more, we will. That's pretty much the way it goes. G-Max says he adds a little bit of cornmeal to the dough, and then I bake my pizza on parchment on steel. So no meal goes on the bottom. It's just mixed into the dough. That is interesting. That is very interesting. Actually, super interesting. So just grab a spatula like this one, and then I'm gonna mix in, you know, with the lighting, that could be a little hard to see against the white background of this bowl. We're gonna mix that flour in with the water that is down in there. This feels like a ton of flour and not very much water. I haven't made the one, you go for it, bud. I haven't made the one pizza recipe here in a very long time. Yeah, Frost is talking about ordering a pizza. I'm gonna get a little more water here. Just add a little bit there until this kind of can become a bit more of a single unit. Right now it's kind of like a bunch of flaky bits, if you will. What did I miss? You just missed the beginning of the dough making. It's time. Welcome back. The real question is, where did you go, honestly? Bowmaster just wants to stop by and grab a slice of pizza. Now I'm just taking the spatula here and I'm just pressing the dough up against the side. Then I kind of flip it over and we'll do the same. We're gonna knead it by hand here in a minute. But this kind of helps it to form together. I think I still need a little more water in there. It's not really sticky enough. There we go. Okay, so it's starting to form like a shape. Now, Ragusea recommends just kneading it out in the bowl, and that's fine. You could totally do that. It would absolutely work if you just want to knead it right into the bowl. I'm going to use this cutting board here and put a little flour on it and go ahead and knead it out here in the cutting board. It gives me a little more freedom of motion. I think it's just a little bit easier, a little more comfortable to do. So that's what I'm going to do. But before I bring it out of there, let me switch back to prep cam. I'm going to throw a little bit more flour on top here, and then a little bit of flour onto the cutting board. Wait, that's cornmeal. What am I doing? Put a little bit of flour there, a little bit of flour on the bottom, and then we'll spread just a little bit out here on the cutting board. No big deal. We'll grab the dough slug and we'll pull it out. Now there's going to be a little flour left in the bowl, which you can see there. We're going to hang on to that. The reason we're going to hang on to that is because here in just a moment, as we knead this dough, we're going to uncover some less floury portions that are going to be a little too sticky for my taste. Kneading the dough is what activates, like, there's something about like glutens, etc., and that's what makes the bread stretchy later, the dough stretchy a little bit later. Yeah, I did a practice pizza, Ice Cube, and I managed to do okay. But when I made the practice pizza, I had prepared the dough earlier, so I didn't have that problem. I'm hoping that we do a good job here. Hey, Burger, what up? Hey, Odie, how you doing? So we're just gonna knead this pizza dough real quick. No big deal, really. Flop that over. And it's starting to feel like bread. You don't want to over knead it, and nobody has ever told me why. And I honestly don't know what it means if you over knead the dough. I don't know what happens, right? Somebody who's a bread scientist, like some sort of baker, would be able to explain that to me better than I probably could. There we go. There we go. That's looking pretty good. Let me hold that up. You guys can get a sense of. Now, my bread is a little bit dry, right? Ragusea says it should be stickier than this. And again, he's the master. He's the flavors guy. So he's almost certainly correct. Just keep kneading and we'll see. That is true, actually. We would see. This is actually a little bit bigger than one dough slug would normally be. Because I think that recipe just calls out and makes it a little bit bigger, which would make for a nice thick dough. Or if you have a larger pan, this is designed for a 10 1/4 inch pan, which I'll show you guys here in a second. And that pan is pretty normal, but I have a 12-inch cast iron pan as well. This dough might be big enough that we could do it for a 12-inch pan, which would be pretty cool. Okay, let's go back to prep cam. The one thing I am worried about is the stream deck, where I just use these hands to press buttons on it, and hopefully we keep it from being too floury, too oily by the end. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my hands off here real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. Now, we will talk. Let's talk a little bit about the pan. This is going to go in. I think you guys will get a kick out of that. So this is the pan right here. It's, as I said, a 10 1/4 inch cast iron pan. This one's from Lodge. If you guys want to check out this pan, I think one of the commands that comes up on the little card over in like, oh, there it is. There's exclamation point skillet will take you to this thing on Amazon. I will say all of the links in this video are affiliate links. So if you go there to Amazon and you buy this pan, Amazon will give me like 50 cents. It will cost you nothing, but for you, just to be extremely open about this, those are affiliate links and I would get a kickback. It's a great way to support the channel that costs you no dollars. If you're looking to buy a cast iron pan anyway, do not buy anything you don't need to support the channel. That's not necessary. You guys just do you, all right? Be cool. If we go back to prep cam real quick, this is a very seasoned pan. In fact, I doubly seasoned it before this just to make sure it would be really good. It's got a little bit of extra oil in it right now. That's why it's a little glistening, but you can check it out. So this is a 10 1/4 inch pan. Again, you can get a bigger one, and this dough ball here might be a little too big for this thing. It'd be a pretty thick pizza, but that's okay because I have the 12-inch version of this pan as well. And I do recommend these Lodge pans. They're, for the dollars you pay, they're fantastic. And if you're not a cast iron person and you think cast iron's hard, it's not that bad, I promise. And if you want to talk about it, join the Discord. We can talk about cast iron stuff. Maybe we could do a stream about cast iron pans. Okay, let me drop this off over here. So what do you do with this dough ball? Obviously, this bread needs to rise before we can use it for anything, right? So you're gonna have to let it sit for a minute. So what I have are a series of these, they're like soup containers, they're like deli containers. There's actually a link to these in the list of tools. I think it's either called exclamation point everything or exclamation point tools. You can go check that out. It takes you to a Google Doc. Yeah, exclamation point everything. takes you to a Google Doc that has a link to these. You can buy those at Amazon as well. Again, same thing, affiliate link, so just be aware that that's what's going on there for anybody who chooses to use those links. So what you want to do is get a little bit of olive oil and coat this ball of oil and drop it into this container. The reason you want to coat it with oil is later when you pull this thing out, if you don't, it could be very, very, very sticky and be difficult to get out of the container. So we coat it with just a little bit of olive oil. This is the kind I use. It's actually avocado oil because my wife likes that better because she's like a food person, I guess, more than I am anyway. So I just put a little bit in my hand. We get this at Costco. You guys can get it wherever you want. Just rub it up in your hands. You're gonna coat this oil ball up just like this, or this dough ball, so it becomes an oil ball. It's time. Says I have 3 sets of those containers in my house right now. Super helpful. They totally are helpful. Motor oil, bad call, Bowmaster. Cannot recommend. We're gonna drop that in there. I should have been on prep cam. My hands are super oily. I'm gonna go rinse these off. Hold on. When I get back, we'll go ahead and talk about what we do with that that dough ball in there. So the dough ball needs to go into the refrigerator to rise for a couple of days. Now, if you want to make synthetic oil only, says Lord Belmar, if you want to make pizza today and you didn't make dough 2 days ago, you can do it. You got to make your dough ball, put it in a container, and set it on the counter and come back like a couple hours later, right? 2 or 3 hours, I think, will do it. So if you want pizza for dinner, you got to make your dough, you know, a little after lunch. If you want not royal purple, royal, like gear oil, you're talking, no, not royal purple. Anyway, that's a funny joke. You can take this, and what I usually do is I write today's date on it. So today is what is today, the 27th, 28th? 28th. So I'm gonna go over here, and I just write 428 on top. Just like, oh, this is the camera we're using right now. 428 right on top, and then I put it in the refrigerator. Now, what you can do with this recipe, this is where the 4 pizzas comes into play, right? So you take your 4 pizzas, you make 4 doughs all at once. Making dough takes, 10 or 15 minutes, like we just did here. You make 4 doughs, you put them in the fridge, and then you can have pizza every day for like 4 days, right? Or you can have pizza for 2 people for a couple of times in the next week. It's a really great idea to make this dough in batch, and then just shove a bunch of these into the fridge, right? Because then you can use those whenever you would like. So what I'm going to do now is put this in the fridge because it needs to rise. We won't use this dough, but luckily for you guys, on Monday, I did make some doughs, so we are ready to go. In other words, I can do this and say, here's one I prepared earlier, right? So this one was a much smaller dough ball than this. This one actually, I'm afraid, is going to blow the lid off of this container. This one was probably about this high when we put it in there, and it's raised up to too much. You can see I dated this one. It was April 25th, and it is all ready to go. Now, ideally, I should have pulled this out about an hour before I wanted to put it in a pizza pan and get going. And I didn't. I forgot until earlier when I said, ooh, there's something I forgot to do. I'm gonna go do it. I should have pulled this dough ball out and let it sit about an hour, lets it warm up, and it's gonna make it better for the dough to rest as we work on putting the pizza together. So what I'm gonna do now is set this here. I'm gonna put the other one in the fridge so it can be ready here in a couple of days. Honestly, it would be ready tomorrow. Like, that would be fine. And we've got this guy ready to go. So now what do we do? Well, next thing we got to do, take a look at our recipe. It says prepare the pan and the risen dough. So once your dough has risen, like this one, we go over there and we get the pan ready to go. The first thing we need to do is take the lid off of this dough container. And the reason for that will become evident as we work. In fact, I'm going to take it over here, put it by the old prep station, and we're going to switch over to stove cam for the moment. I would normally I might bring the pan over here and work, but with all this flour and stuff right here, I don't want to get that on the bottom of the pan and then have that get all burned up. Hey, Amgen, what's going on? I am not fancy about food, actually. That said, I get why you would say that. This is definitely the costume of a guy who would sell you a $30 cheeseburger. Okay, so we're gonna go over to stove cam here. I'm gonna grab a couple of items. Are we on stove cam? We are. Gonna take our oil over there because we're gonna need that. And probably a couple other things, not all of which are here. Welcome to the stream, Amgen. Glad to have you here, bud. Alrighty, let's get serious with what's going on here. So over here, hopefully microphone 2 is working and I sound good. I'll check chat here in a second. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put enough oil on the bottom. The recipe says to coat the bottom well. You don't want a ton of oil in there because it'll actually burn the bottom of the dough, which I found out the hard way. But you need a little bit more than just a little bit. So you put a little bit of oil in there, and we'll run it around to where it kind of catches everything. Turn that so you guys can see. Just to where it's kind of covering everything. In fact, that might even be not quite enough. I might put just a touch more in there. Just the tiniest bit. Take it easy, bro. There we go. There we go. How's that look? So we got just enough oil to coat the bottom pretty well. In fact, it might even be a little too much now, but we'll just have to keep our eye on that and everything. Spatula to easily cover. That's a good point, actually. In fact, my spatula is like right here. 2 of them. And that's a good point. We can do that real quick. And often I do, but I'm distracted by talking to you guys. So that's going to get our oil kind of distributed there. We're also going to use our hands to distribute that here in a moment. So the recipe talks about what we want to put in here. We're going to put in some cornmeal, some oregano, a bunch of black pepper, and just a pinch of salt. So first off, let's throw that cornmeal in here. We talked about cornmeal earlier. I'm going to put just a little bit more. There we go. We're going to put some black pepper in there. So this is, again, Costco black pepper, no big deal. If you guys don't have Costco in your part of the country or your part of the world, you can get black pepper pretty much anywhere. A little oregano. We like oregano. Oregano is the thing that makes stuff taste Italian. So we're going to put a bunch of that in there. In fact, we're going to need those 2 items again later. So I'm going to put them over here on the island. What do you guys got going over here? Spatula to easy to cover. Pizza time. What's up, Abyss? Welcome. Amgen's coughing because of the pepper? Oh no. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take your hands and you're going to use one of them, but not both, to wipe the bottom of this and kind of spread the stuff around. I'll use my right hand because I'm right-handed. And you're just mixing these things together. The pepper, the cornmeal, everything. And once it's kind of good and mixed, you're going to go ahead and rub it up on the sides of the pan, just like this. We're making a pan-style pizza, right? So this is not a thin crust. It's going to be up against the sides of this container as we go. So we want to make sure we kind of coat this whole thing. And that's looking really good, actually. We're getting a lot of... And this is, of course, going to deliver flavors to the crust, which we like. We like flavors. And my hand is covered in this stuff. It looks all seasoned. I got a seasoned hand, but I got a clean hand, too. The reason we took the lid off of this container earlier is because I want to do that with my hands when they're clean. And then we're going to use the seasoned hand to go in here and actually pull out the dough. So we plunge in here and we grab the dough with the seasoned hand. We got one clean hand, and at this point, both of your hands are going to get dirty. So we're going to go ahead and mix these seasonings into the dough, just like this. This is how we get the effect J-Mac was talking about earlier. He uses a pizza steel for his pizza, and this one, we're just going to go ahead and push in these flavors. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to switch cameras real quick. I think I have one clean digit here, so we can come over here to chat cam. You guys can see what we're going to do is just kind of take this and we're going to let gravity stretch the dough. Amgen works in an Italian place, so Amgen probably actually knows how to make real food then. The real Italian food, right? That's legit. I am not like I said, I'm not a fancy food person, so luckily I like pizza. And so for me, this is a big deal. And I know people, of course, they take their Italian foods very seriously. We're going to switch back over to stove cam. we didn't get too much gunk on my stream deck. And what we're gonna do is lay this pizza out. I usually look at which side is more seasoned. This side has more seasoning, so we're gonna make that side up because the bottom is gonna get plenty of seasonings already because of all the stuff we had down in this pan before, like we put the dough out. And then I'm gonna stretch this out just a little bit. It's gonna shrink back. That's partly because I didn't pull it out enough and it's still kind of cold. This is still almost refrigerator temperature. Working with my hands helped a little bit, but we're gonna press it out like that. And then the recipe says to let this rest for about a half an hour. We're probably gonna let it rest for most of a half an hour. We'll see how it goes. But first, we're gonna go wash all this oil off my hands because I need my hands to be clean for the next step. So let me do that. All right, so while we're letting that rest, we're gonna work on making our sauce. Now, I will say, I like the sauce that comes with this recipe. I would say it's probably I don't know if I'd say it's bad. It's not a bad sauce. It's a pretty decent sauce and it's pretty easy to make. But I don't think it's the strongest point of the recipe. I think the recipe has better attributes than its sauce, which really is just the whole technique and how you can make this thing together. So glad that Clyde is wearing pants. This may be the first evidence that Clyde wears pants. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, anything below the gaming portions of Clyde. I'm a whole person, and I have pants, and I wear them. Clyde has legs. Clyde has legs is a different stream. It's mostly about dancing. Okay, so get a little water here. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna make the sauce. Again, if you guys grabbed the recipe, you've probably read ahead and taken a look at what goes in the sauce. Honestly, there's a few basic ingredients that go in the sauce and you can add or remove things as you like. That does not sound right at all. No, it does not. So we got the pan over there. We can actually take a quick look. Look at the pan. We are resting, the dough is resting. And you can already see it's even shrunk up a little bit more. We'll go ahead and press that out here in a little bit when it's had a chance to chill and be more, be more of a pizza dough or whatever. So we'll take a look at the sauce ingredients. For me, it's on the back. Obviously, if you're looking at a digital copy of the recipe, it's on page 2 or whatever. And actually, this was printed from like a Word doc. The one you guys have is in what's that website called? Google Docs, right? Bowmaster's on it with the links. Thanks, Bo. So the ingredients it's a pretty short list. They're right here. It's going to be a little bit of canned pureed tomatoes. Obviously, if you're a real chef's chef and you want to make this from fresh tomatoes, you can. But for me and most like-minded people who don't have the time or interest or the tools maybe to do that, you can just grab a can of them, which is pretty chill. This is the kind that I use. I've used a bunch of different kinds. I have a can of Cento over there. I have like the Safeway brand, the Safeway Signature brand. I've tried a bunch of different ones. I haven't noticed huge taste differences, but my palate might not be as refined as some of y'all. So what's his name? Adam Ragusea has a brand that he recommends in his video. I can't find it locally. I really wanted to try it as he does it, but I was unable to find those locally. So I've tried a bunch of different brands. These ones seem pretty good. What I'll do with this is way, way, way more sauce than I need for one pizza. It's way more sauce than I need for like 8 pizzas, right? Like one of these cans can do a ton. So if you check this out, you'll need to have a container. And I use one of those soup containers to store mine. Online Assassin says, "Are you Canadian?" I am not. I'm from the Pacific Northwest here in the U.S. So I'm gonna grab another one of those soup containers. In fact, I'll probably just wash out the one I used from the dough real quick, and we'll use that as our sauce container. So we'll go ahead and clean this dude out. By the way, welcome, Online Assassin. Glad to have you join us today. I live close to Canada, but not in Canada. I probably have a hockey hat on, eh? Okay, so this is good and clean. We will go ahead and grab a can opener. Switch back down to prep station here. Let's go ahead and use the can opener. You guys have used the can opener before. And we'll go ahead and crack open one of these. This is best diffused by September of 23. So it's very, very fresh. As fresh as a canned good can be. Anyway. And we will check in. How's our... Dude, having stove cam is actually convenient for me. I don't even have to look to the left. I can just see the stove from here. How dope is that? All right, so we got our can of sauce. We're just gonna pour it into one of these soup containers, just like I used for the dough. In fact, the exact same one I pulled the dough out of. And the reason for that is that I'm not gonna use all this sauce today. So next time we get together, next time I make a pizza, which will be in a couple of days, because I made that that extra dough just now. So in a day or two, I'll be able to use that dough to make another pizza. So you can kind of get this perpetual pizza machine going, which honestly is a great idea. You should have a perpetual pizza machine at all times. I'm gonna rinse out this can here. I honestly can't imagine a world where I wouldn't want to have pizza every day or two. Frost Knight says pizza secured, got a Euro pizza because they don't have smoked shimakaze. If you're new here, that's a weird thing that I just did with my face and voice. But that's a good joke. Frost, are you saying you just ordered a pizza? Is what you're telling me? Pizza secured? With these containers, you can use a Sharpie to write on them, even though it's a permanent marker, just a little scrap of paper towel, and you can wipe off the date. So there it goes, it's gone, and that'll let me relabel this again. We should reuse these containers as many times as we can. Let me tell you, there's a lot of plastic in the world. We don't need to throw any more out there. Also, it's expensive. Don't waste money. Just save money and do that. So again, we're going to put today's date on there, 4/28. If for some reason, and I can't imagine how this could possibly happen, but if for some reason you don't make enough pizza to eat all of this giant can of sauce before this gets kind of older than you want it to, the date's going to be critical so that you know when to get rid of the sauce. No big deal. So again, checking in on our pizza. We can see the dough is over there. It's getting rested. It's getting all chilled out. It's going to be good. So I'm going to grab a dish out of here. This is where I'm going to mix up my sauce. I'm just going to use this dish. We'll go back to prep cam for this. Oops. Hey, what's up, Dr. Downhill? Welcome. We are making a pizza today, so I hope you're interested in pizza and the making thereof. Welcome to the stream. We're glad to have you here tonight. Dang you, Frostnite, you're killing me, Bowmaster's jealous. That's all good. Had a ton of places to choose from. So, did you order like a deep dish, mega thick Chicago style pizza? The recipe claims that this pizza feeds 2 people. Listen, your mileage may vary. I usually, if I'm hungry, and I'm not a huge dude, right? So I'm not a very, very huge person who needs to eat like a half of a full-size large pizza from a regular pizza place. Are there people who are not into pizza? I can usually eat like 2/3 or 3/4 of this pizza and be comfortably full. But I think if you had like anything else to eat with it, half of a pizza would be fine. Probably by serving sizes, etc., half a pizza is more than enough for it to be considered a full meal. But I usually eat a little bit more than half. So your mileage may vary on that. Kind of depends on how hungry you and your family are. Another thing that you want to know about is that pan makes 1 pizza, and then it's like 1,000 degrees. And so you can't do this phase right now. Right now we've got the dough over there resting in the pan. You don't want it resting on a 450 or a 500 degree pan. And so if you're gonna make more than 1 pizza for you and your family, or you and your spouse, your significant other, your loved one, whoever it is, your kid, you're gonna need more than 1 pan. So I have 2 because typically it's just me and the missus. Although I did go back for Christmas time to spend some time with my family, and I took these 2 pans. We bought another one while I was there, and I had my 12-inch pan, and we were rotating the 4 pans through, buying or making pizzas and stuff like that. So luckily they're pretty cheap, and that's pretty good. Amgen has something to say about deep dish pizza. Well, Amgen, you know, not being, I'm going to say not probably a Chicago native, Frost Knight may have different words. It is a very different kind of food, though, than than a regular non-deep dish pizza. All right, let's go back to prep cam. So the recipe says to take about 1/3 cup, and that's what I got here is a 1/3 cup measuring cup of this sauce, and mix it up with your seasonings and things like that to make the sauce. I like a little extra sauce personally. So for me, I usually do 1/3 cup and then a little bit more. So you're gonna watch me do that right now. We'll go ahead and take this. This is sort of a heaping cup, 1/3 cup already. And then I'm gonna go boop, and grab, I don't know, about that much extra sauce and throw it on there. Because for me, you wanna have enough pizza sauce. You never wanna be too light on it. And a lot of people go with a very light sauce. I just feel like that's not necessary. Amgen. That is a, if that happens enough that you say, when I'm drunk, this happens, that is a serious situation. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and snap the lid on this and just put it in the refrigerator. And then we are done with the tomato sauce here. Okay. Gotta make a little room in there. Okie doke. So now we've got a cup of this. Now this is just crushed or pureed tomatoes, right? There's no flavoring in here that even suggests that this is a pizza flavor. It's just the tomatoes. Now obviously, tomato stuff is a pretty big deal in Italian food and certainly in pizza, but we need to put some seasonings in here to make this taste more like what you think of when you think of a traditional pizza sauce. And so we've got a list of those here. Ragusea recommends a pinch of sugar. And if you've ever had like a Pizza Hut pizza sauce, next time you have Pizza Hut, if you ever do, taste that sauce. It's really, really, really sweet. It's sweeter than you think it is in your memory. And so Ragusea doesn't make this sauce nearly that sweet. It's just a pinch of sugar to kind of make it a little bit sweeter. And of course, that's in a 1/3 cup of sauce, so it's not going to make a huge difference. But pizza sauces do have a little sugar in them. He says to add a glug of olive oil. I'll use avocado oil because it's what I got on hand, but olive oil is probably a little more traditional. It recommends a few torn leaves of fresh basil. I'm not really a big basil person, but my wife is. So the cool thing about this pizza sauce is I'll mix it up in 2 different containers. She can have basil in hers. I'll usually take a leaf or 2, throw it in mine, but she likes a lot more than I do. So we can have kind of unique flavor profiles. We'll add some oregano and some garlic powder, and then I shake in just a little bit of black powder. Gives it a little, I don't know, powdery, black powder, that's for guns. Black pepper, that's for food. We're gonna put a little black pepper in there. And that adds a little bit extra kick, although black powder would add even more kick. So let's get the pinch of sugar here first. We'll throw that in just a little bit. Oh no, you guys didn't even get to see it, did you? I forgot to switch cameras. I'll do it here next to the bowl. I just put in about that much sugar, just the tiniest little pinch. A little bit more than, than a hint, but a little bit less than any significant amount. So just this little bit right there. We've got a little sugar in there. We'll grab our olive oil from across the way. A glug is not a metric or standard measurement. I don't know what Ragusea is talking about, but I like what he recommended. So just a little glug. I just put in maybe about that much. Grab a spoon here. And we'll mix up what we've got in there so far. Our next ingredient is gonna be either basil, if you wanna do a little basil. I'm gonna skip it tonight because I don't have any, and also because I'm not a huge basil fan anyway. Mixing this in with that oil, because the tomatoes are in there. Glug is a visual measurement. Yeah, because the tomatoes are in there, oil and water doesn't mix together, but oil and stuff does. The tomatoes are stuff, and that is helping that oil blend in beautifully. So we'll go ahead and mix that up right quick here. We'll throw in some oregano, and I am not bashful about oregano because I like it. So I'm gonna put a lot in. I don't know if that's a ton really. Certainly isn't 2,000 pounds or 1,000 kilograms of oregano. Really smell that. I wish you guys could smell what's happening here. I'll bring that up to the camera. You can kind of get a bit of an appearance there of what's going on. I put a little garlic powder in. This is not in Ragusea's original recipe. You could do fresh garlic as well. And I think, honestly, a little fresh garlic would be fantastic. Again, I just don't have any on hand, but I do happen to have some garlic powder. So I'm going to use that. Put a little bit in there. Oh, I switched to the wrong camera. But you can see that little stripe of powder here across is what I did for the oregano. There we go. Or I'm sorry, for the garlic powder. So we'll blend that in. And then a little bit of black pepper as well. So I'll just do, last time I put too much in there. So I'm just going to shake in a little bit there. Again, this is what I'm trying today. I did too much last time, but it did add something to the sauce. It was really good. I don't know if that's a traditional ingredient for a pizza sauce or not. I'm actually on the hunt for like a bunch more pizza sauce recipes. I really think that that's such a key ingredient for giving a pizza its sort of, gosh, I don't even know what the right word is, but really setting like its tone, if you will. I think the pizza sauce is kind of a critical thing for that. So if you guys have a pizza sauce recipe that you like and use, go to the Making and Doing channel in Discord and post that. That would be fantastic. And I'd probably try it sometime if it sounds good. Okay, so we've got our sauce ready to go. Let's take a look over there at the stove cam. We'll see what the pizza dough looks like. It actually looks like you can kind of see that it's risen a little bit already. Frost Knight says, why not just make your own pizza sauce? That's what I'm talking about, man. I don't know enough about spices, I don't think, to choose the things that would add the flavors that I think I want in my mind. And so what I'm looking for is a lot of suggestions from other people. This sauce that I'm making is kind of my own recipe, adapted from Ragusea's recipe. His is very traditional and I think pretty good. This just adds a couple of things that I like, garlic powder and a little pepper. And if I had 3 or 4 more opinions on what makes a good pizza sauce, I think I could maybe do exactly what you're talking about, which is make my own. So I'm gonna let this sit right here for a moment. Let's check out what's going on over here on the stove. So the pizza has kind of, or the dough has kind of retracted a little bit, and it's risen just a tiny bit more as it's had a chance to rest over here while we made our sauce. So what we can do is just kind of stretch it out, push it out to the edges of the pan. We want it right up to the edge. Now I have made this pizza before too fast. I've definitely come over here and I pulled the dough out of the fridge and I put it out here and I was impatient and I cooked the pizza and I didn't give it a chance to rise. I didn't give it a chance to push to the edges, or to rest, I should say. And I didn't push it to the edges. And it was fine. It was still a good pizza. The good thing about pizza is it's really good and you can make it a bunch of different ways and it's still good. This one, look at that. Look how it's holding its shape a little bit better. This pizza is best when it's got the chance to be up against the edges, because that's where you're going to get that delicious crust. We're actually going to see some browning of the bread and the cheese on the edge. It's going to be fantastic. I'm really actually looking forward to this. I have not eaten since about 2 o'clock this afternoon. I had my lunch a little bit late, so it's friggin' dinner time for me. And I won't sit here and make you guys watch me eat this whole pizza, but I'll have a slice when we get there. We'll see if it's any good. All right. We push that out to the edge. I like that I'm using my GoPro for this camera here. So this is like an action cam. And we're getting a legitimate action pizza thing going on. Amjad says try an Alfredo pizza. He's talking white sauce pizza. Fantastic. There's a restaurant here in town that makes a good white sauce pizza. And I had a friend, he stops by the stream every now and again, Dumasaurus, and he said he stopped by that restaurant one time, coming over here to play some RPGs, tabletop RPGs, and he grabbed some white sauce from that restaurant and brought it here, and then we made this pizza, but with that sauce. It was fantastic. It was really good. You will watch me eat an entire pie. No, you will not. That is not going to be necessary. Let me grab the lid for the olive oil here. We're going to set that aside. Okay, we're going to consult our recipe, because again, I know how to do this. But basil pesto into the white sauce, that would be fantastic. I like pesto. Pesto is good. Just a little bit, like a pinch. That'd be awesome. I could definitely see that adding to the flavor profiles. Okay, so now we're to this let's cook it section right here, where it says to put the pan on a big burner, and then get it going on medium heat. We're gonna get the oven warmed up as well. A pesto by itself. I've had a pizza like that. That was pretty good. It was actually quite good. There's a bunch of different sauces that people need to be having. When I lived back east, it was fun to. They had a bunch of different crazy pizzas back there, and that was a lot of fun. I lived in Pittsburgh for a little bit, and they had good pizza sauces there compared to out west where things are a little bit more traditional. Of course, these days they make everything else, everything everywhere. Leg Up's here. What's up, Leg Up? How you doing? Let's see. After the pizza's been on for a few minutes, or the heat's been on for a few minutes, we're gonna sprinkle the pizza with Parmesan and then the mozzarella. Oh shoot, that's another thing we need to do. Okay, this is really critical. Let's talk about cheese for a minute. By the way, guys, check out Leg Up stream. It's a good time. It's fun over there. Well, you're here. It's the right place. So we're gonna use a low moisture mozzarella pizza cheese. Low moisture. Gosh, it's a low moisture. We're gonna use a low moisture. I can't do anything. We're gonna use a low moisture mozzarella cheese for this pizza, and we're gonna grate it ourselves. Do not buy pre-grated cheese for this pizza. It's just a waste. Don't do it. They put what's the stuff they put on there to make it not stick to itself in the bag? It changes the flavor. It's not right. It's not good. So we're gonna grate this ourselves. The thing about a low moisture mozz is you want to grate it right before you use it because it's very sticky. It'll stick to itself. You don't want to grate it like an hour before. You don't want to grate it first and put it in the refrigerator. If you do grate it early, put it in the refrigerator, but shred it yourself. You're gonna thank me later, I promise you. Shred it. There's the shred it commercials. So I'm gonna grab a cheese grater stuff. We're gonna do the mozz. I have a slug of mozz here that I bought already, or that I opened already. But I'll show you what I mean when I say low moisture. This is just a bread peg. Don't judge me. This is a really nice lump of low moisture mozz. This is a relatively affordable brand, but you're gonna see it right here. It'll say made with whole milk, low moisture. It's not gonna be hiding it. You're just gonna have it right there. Mozzarella, a cheese. This is from Lucerne, which is a Northwest dairy somewhere. I think it's in Oregon. But anyway, this is some fancy brand of cheese that my wife bought. We're gonna use the fancy cheese. But again, if you buy one of these, you're gonna use, I don't know, a fourth or maybe a fifth of this for 1 or 2 pizzas, So you can use one of the, if you make 4 doughs, this will almost get you all the way through depending on how much cheese you go for. Lucerne is like an Albertsons brand. These guys are, this I got at Safeway, but you can get it at a couple of different stores. It's not just a single store. I think when Albertsons and Safeway merged a while back, at least around this region, they bought out a bunch of stores. We started seeing this brand show up there. The cheese is in it, yeah. All right, let me throw this back in the fridge. Lucerne has been around for a long time. When I grew up, my parents had these antique wooden milk crates, like the plastic ones that you see, like Dairy Gold milk crates or whatever. My parents had these old school wooden milk crates. I don't know if they still do, but they were from a Lucerne dairy back where they grew up in Central Oregon. Or at least my mom's family's from around there. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my grater here. Switch back to prep cam, and we're gonna go hard on grating this cheese. Leg Up says, that looks like enough cheese for 1 pizza. You might be right. It kind of depends. Everybody's cheese needs are different. Oh, it's great, all right. And it's gonna get greater as we go. So this is you can get this cheese grater at IKEA, or there's knockoffs you can get on Amazon. I don't know if I put the Amazon link on there or not, but every time people see this cheese grater, they ask me about it. Because when you take the top off, it has a lid. My voice is cracking. It has a lid, and you can just throw it in the fridge if you don't use all the cheese. It's awesome. Okay, and put this back in the fridge. I'll be right back. So you grab one of these lids and and then you just put that in the fridge when you're done. It's freaking awesome. Okay, At my house, if you don't clean this right away, you hear about it from the person who's not on this stream. It's the other person, and they're right. Sometimes I forget, so I'm gonna go clean this right now. Here we go. All right. The other day I was watching some cooking streams to figure out, you know, how to do this cooking stream. And I watched a guy who said, he fired up, I won't name names because I don't actually remember the streamer's name, but he fired up his streamer and he was like, hey, what should I make today? Like that was the name of his stream. What am I gonna make for dinner today? Whatever. And so I popped into his stream and he was just doing the dishes with his back to the camera and just talking over his shoulder. And I'm like, people just come to hang out with you and watch you do the dishes? I should get into cooking streams because that's easy to do. And I have to watch the dishes anyway. Like, if people will come and show up while I turn my back on them and wash dishes, like, I could get a lot of work done around the house. Like, would people watch me mow the lawn? Like, what will people watch? It's so weird. Yeah, it's weird, right, MJ? Holy crap, this cheese is good. Yeah, it's pretty good chicken. And I bit my own tongue, and I'm holding it in, I'm being cool. Okay. So, we got our sauce, we got our cheese. Let's go over to stove cam. Some dude made 12 grand on an 8-hour sleep stream. Yeah. Some people's backsides are better than their front side. All right, I'm gonna leave, so I'm not responsible for what goes on over here. But guys, be classy, and Bowmaster, if you need to moderate, you know, you can do it. Moderate, my friend. Here I am putting clown makeup on every week to go to work. No joke, right? It's nonsense. Okay, the other ingredient that we need. This is very important. And sometimes I forget. Is garbage tier pre-grated terrible Parmesan cheese. Now this is Kraft. It's probably a little too fancy. Ragusea says to use the cheapest, worst kind you have because it tastes more like pizza that way. This is what we have. So we're gonna use this. So what we do, you grab a spoon, which I used earlier. Didn't I use a spoon earlier? No? Oh, it's freaking in the bowl, Clyde. What are you doing, bro? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this out to the edge one last time, just to make sure we're all up against the sides of the pan. And then we're gonna spread this sauce out. I usually put a couple of spoonfuls in the middle, push them around with the middle of the back of the spoon here. This is not a hard thing. There's not a secret to it, but I'm sure that everyone has their own technique and they swear by it. So we'll get that sauce going. Yeah, anyway, so I thought to myself, what other chores could I get? Would people watch people doing laundry? I'm sure the answer is yes. They're like, oh, you put the softener. Okay, like, what are they doing? I think a cooking stream is kind of cool because not everybody knows every recipe. But everybody kind of knows how to slap some water and soap against a dish and clean it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not too tricky. So I'm pushing the sauce right up against the edge. We are making no allowances for this pizza to have any sort of crust that you can hold up. There's no stuffed crust with cheese in it because that's stupid. Sorry, pizza places that stuff their crust with cheese. That's just absurd. If you want that, order cheese sticks. Am I throwing too much shade? Are people sad about that? I can't see chat. I have no idea what you guys are saying right now. Okay, I'm gonna wash this pan or bowl out. Or at least rinse it out. What are you guys talking about over here? How's chat going? Hey, Thomas is here. What's up, bud? I hope you're having a good morning. Heavy McD says, you say that, and yet I don't do them. They'll sit there until the heat death of the universe. You are not the first person who said heat death of the universe to me today. Reduce, reuse, respoon. I love it. I love it. Thomas is here. Welcome, Thomas. You missed some of the boring parts. We made the dough and we made the sauce, and now we're going to put it all together. But you can watch this on VOD, and again, we're going to wind up putting this on YouTube. If you guys are watching this later on YouTube and you think this is fun and you like the people in chat and you think I'm not half bad, come hang out with us on Twitch. We usually do World of Warships, but you know, this right here, this is a stream of diverse things. And most, like I would say 95% of the time we're doing World of Warships. It's probably higher than that. But we might do more other things in the future. I'm interested in expanding those horizons. What's up, Atari? Welcome, bud. Shout out for Atari Beer Pong. Twitch streamer as well, does World of Warships and other things, vintage games, old school consoles on the original hardware, old school console games on the original hardware, fun stuff. Okay, we are doing good, man. Pizza's going great. We're gonna switch back over to stove cam. We got the sauce distributed, and now we take this. This stuff, again, the way it works is they grind it up in a robot at a factory, and then it's really finely cut. You guys know about freaking cheap Parmesan cheese. Everybody here has probably had this at one point in their lives. But what I do for it, I don't know if this is the best way. I just shake it, and that knocks apart any of the little like giant cheese clods that form in the thing. So I just shake that up a little bit to make sure some of it was flying out the top, which is a high quality seal. And then we're just gonna shake some of this on here. We're not gonna be too bashful about it. Again, Ragusea says use the cheap stuff. You don't need to use a fresh grated Parmesan. And just get a nice layer on everything. It's okay if you get a little bit on the stove. Nobody's gonna be mad unless you get mad because it's your stove. Then we're gonna put a little cheese down and we're gonna interleave it with the pepperoni because that's how I do it. You guys can do it your own way. Oh shit. I will explain what I mean as we go. So I just have this pepperoni. I like to buy fancier pepperoni than this, but this is what Mrs. Clyde likes, so it's what we have in the house. This is a Hormel pepperoni. You can get it at any grocery store, probably. But if you can get like a deli pepperoni, or if you can get something from a more respected brand than this, I recommend it. But Mrs. Clyde likes this, and so I don't mess with the recipe. We just do what we like, and we already know we like. So I'm gonna set these pepperonis on this spatula because I shouldn't have gotten them out of the bag yet. We're gonna put some cheese out on this thing. What do I mean by interleaved? I mean there's a thin layer of cheese, and then we put the pepperoni, and then we do another thin layer of cheese, thus getting a thick layer of cheese with pepperoni locked in. We want the pepperoni locked in amongst the rest of the flavors. More flavors, please. Okay, so we got some pepperoni there, or some cheese there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw these peps down. Ooh, you know what would be an interesting idea? I thought about this last time, but I didn't do it. Hang on. You guys have kitchen scissors? Am I weird that I have kitchen scissors? This is a thing that like some neighbors of ours back in the 80s had. And I mean literally in the 80s. I'm gonna cut up these pepperonis so maybe they'll get a little crispier. I had this idea the other day and I didn't do it. Now I wanna know if it would be good. So we're gonna find out. You guys, this is extra. Look, that one's shaped like a piece of pizza. Adorable. I think this is probably a waste of time, but it's an experiment. We like experiments around here. Put that friggin' pepperoni over there. It will definitely make for more evenly distributed pepperoni. We're trying things. This is an innovation that you can only get right here on twitch.tv/ClydePlaysLive or later, on youtube.com/c-as-in-channel/ClydePlays. Nobody else has ever done this. Is definitely a lie. Somebody has done this. Somebody has done that. I shouldn't be singing songs because I can't hear the music you guys are listening to. And I'm like singing a song against the backdrop of another actual song. That's probably a bad idea, isn't it? Okay, I gotta go see what you guys are saying about kitchen scissors and cutting up my pepperoni. See if it's insane. Too funny. He's found cheese grating on his nerves. Had to shake it up. Most people have kitchen shears, says Scott. Okay, cool. At least adults who breathe. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, Clyde goggles. That would be great. Space Invaders. Okay, sorry. We're gonna throw some cheese on top of this. pepperoni, and I might do a couple more pepperonis on top of this just for kicks. Just enough to lock these babies down so that when we cut the pizza later, they won't like pull the... You ever have that terrible like cafeteria pizza when you were in grade school or junior high? And you'd like take a bite and all the pepperonis and toppings would come with you? It'd be like, you just one mouthful, all the peps. Kitchen shears. Shears is the right word. Scott reminded me. Which is pretty cool. Okay, there we go. A couple extra peps there. Got some extra cheese. That goes right down the old hatch. We're gonna eat that cheese. Now the recipe says to turn on the oven when you're doing that. I don't. You don't need me? No? Okay, cool. Exactly. No, we're good? We can keep going? Sweet. I'm gonna throw that in the fridge. It'll be all right. Let's throw this pepperoni back in the fridge too. Now I get you, Scott. Hormel is a little bargain basement. Let's see, I gotta scroll back up and catch up. I can't do the Hormel, but I think the rest of the recipe is worth trying. Mostly, I like the cast iron method, and maybe give it a try. Well, that's cool, man. I hope you do. Yeah, you can get a Gallo pepperoni, which is like one tick up, or like I said, the deli pep is probably really the way to go. And of course, if you were back east, you could find like 14 different types of deli pepperoni, some of them named after the last name of the owner of the establishment, and they would be making like a fantastic special boy pepperoni for you, which would be rad. Back east reference, it's happening. Look, that's the thing. Back east, it's a place where people used to live before they came west. Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate it, bud. Let's go back over to stove cam here. Okay, so we're here. We're gonna turn up the burner to about medium, and I'm gonna turn on the oven. Ragusea says to turn the oven on to broil at like its highest setting. What I do right now is I turn the oven on to about 350 on just bake. We're gonna get some heat in the oven, and then when we're ready to put the pizza into the oven, we'll switch it to broil and we'll crank up the heat. I don't want to run too much energy right now. There's no sense in that, so I'll get it warming up to where it's legit and good to go. And then we got the oven going over here. Now we can watch the pizza toppings to see if we're going to be burning anything and whatnot. What I'm going to do right now is clean up and put a bunch of stuff away, and I'll check in with you guys as we go. I'm going to give you guys stove cam so you can keep an eye on the cheese. Watch this cheese around the edge here. When these start to melt, that means we're in business. Things are going to start to happen. The other cool thing that's going on is we'll start to see some bubbling around the edge as the oil starts increasing in temperature and starts to bubble up around the sides. If you have just enough oil in there, but not too much, you'll get a nice browning effect around the edge, and you'll have a nice crispity, crunchy edge with cheese and sauce and everything baked right in, and that's what we're hoping for. Ragusea says to watch the pizza, and you'll start to know that it's about ready to go when it starts to smell like it's burning. I usually feel like I don't get to that point, but maybe it's because I'm paranoid and I check the bottom of the crust before that point. We'll see. You want a very flexible spatula like this one. This one bends really easily. I also have this metal spatula that I got, which bends super easy because you can get in underneath and curl around and see what the bottom of the pizza looks like as you're going. So if you have a rigid spatula, like this one's pretty rigid, or even this guy is really rigid. This is really for a barbecue, right? That's not going to do you any good. You got to get something with a little bit of flex in it. So make sure you have a flexible spatula. I think most people do. If you make pancakes, you've got a flexible spatula. I'm going to clean up a few things around the kitchen, put away some ingredients while we're waiting on this to happen. It does not take long. It's maybe 5 to 7 minutes. And then we'll kind of take a look at the bottom of the pizza together. I'll try to get eyeballs underneath the thing. Where can you buy 9 spatulas and get the 10th for a penny? IKEA, Amazon? I have no idea. Canadian Tire. I gotta guess something Canadian for Atari. That's right. It's never too late to share a pizza pun. Oh my goodness. Don't worry, Leg Up, if you missed the dough portion. It's all good. I have loads of puns for dough. Dough! That's great. Don't worry, it is all here. Spatula City! we found some kindred spirits. I don't know if Atari and Lego have met, but they should. They're both fun streamers. Take it easy, refrigerator. Oh my gosh, do I have a cold soda? I do. Now's a good time to put your soda in the freezer if you like a super, super frozen, super cold soda or beer or whatever it is you're gonna have with your pizza. Let's go back to stove cam. All right, put away a couple more items. Oh, we never did switch to wired. We stayed wireless. I hope this works for everybody. Ever make a pizza with red snapper? No, I did not. You guys are talking about UHF. Oh yeah, there it is. Drink from the fire hose and Atari's UHF references. I will not be able to keep up, guys, so bear that in mind as we go. Is that a movie I need to add to my list? Damn, spatula city. Oh man, there's cheese on this cutting board. Take it easy, bro. Cleaning the cutting board here, which we will then dry. And then once it's dried, we might even throw a little oil on there. Wheel of fish. It's all good. Guys, or I guess we could do prep can. You can see cleaning this guy up here as we go. This is something that everybody probably already does in the kitchen. If not, maybe it's something to think about. When you've got an opportunity to do some cleaning, this is a good time to take it. I worked at one of those restaurants that makes food rapidly. We had a boss who said, "You got time to lean, you got time to clean," and then he would sip his coffee. It was it's funnier for him than it was for us. I was born in the 70s, so yes, I too enjoy UHF. Yeah. Atari's always dropping the snarky emote. Oh, heavy. This is a family show, man. That said, it is also an educational show, so that's a line you guys can use if that ever happens to you. Luckily, he was actually a pretty good boss, but that was funny at the time. Let's go back over to stove. Yeah, exactly, right? We do got a little bit of melting cheese happening over here, and we're seeing a little bit of melting happening over here. We're not perfectly centered on the burner though, so I'm gonna move back over just a touch. This salt can go back up here. Stupid thing about that, you got time to lean, you got time to clean thing, is it's correct. It is a true statement. Clean those properly later. Okay. How are we doing? We're getting a little bit of warm in there. I'm going to turn that heat straight up to medium. It was a little bit low. Oven is warming up as well, which is pretty rad. Doing good things. I ran that one by the MPA. You're still a salty today. Perfect. That's where we need to be, bud. You checked in with the MPA. I'm only wearing shoes in the house because when I did my practice stream, my feet started to hurt. I've actually got a mat down here as well, like a standing mat. Normally, I would be all socks all the time, like a Excuse me. Plus, I've got hardwood floors, so I like sliding around. You know, I love being on my stocked feet. That is the oven telling us. I don't know if you heard that with noise canceling going on. That is the oven telling us it's reached 350. Again, we're gonna cook it at a higher temperature. That's right, socks. Because then I can slide. Kitchen sliding is the best part of cooking. It's a pretty good part. It's a pretty good part. All right, so here's what's going on. Putting it on our largest burner. We're turning that burner up to medium. You may need to adjust for your oven. I found medium to be a very good place for mine, and so does Ragusea. So that works out pretty good. Put the toppings on straight up to the edge, which we've already done. Ooh, you know what we could do while we're waiting? Maybe we can do that. Ah. Gosh, why do I have so many freaking onions? We're gonna put some green onions on the top, because I think we've got just enough time to do it. Don't forget about Conan. Come on. Stove cam, still looking good. Just a little bit of cheese melting, no bubbling, etc. Dude, you're most welcome to be here, Thomas. I've got a green onion. I'm just gonna cut this up. When I was pulling it out, I ripped this part off. Probably not gonna use it anyway. Rinse this. I'll be right back. Don't fall. Don't fall, little towel. Here we go. Yeah, this is an okay little house. It's about 30 years old or so. It's a very fine place to live. Okay, so we're gonna lap the end. This is a big old green onion. Ooh, that's a chunky boy. This is like twice the diameter of a normal green onion. It's perfectly normal. It's gonna be fine. Now, I'm cutting probably more than I actually want on my pizza, but I want a mix of the lower white onion portions and some of these leafier green ones, because it looks really good on the pizza, and it tastes pretty good too. So we're gonna switch over. I'm gonna grab a little bit of each here. We'll switch over to stove cam, and we'll add some greenery on here, just to make this pizza look a little bit more like an adult is gonna eat it instead of a child. Nothing wrong with a classic pepperoni pizza. It's classic for a reason. Ooh, check that out, guys. Get a little bubbling. Can you see that? Yeah. Looks really good. Looks really good. What you got? So you can recenter it over there. Nom nom indeed. You are totally back east. It's true, but definitely thank you so much, Leg Up, for stopping by and adding some of your puns and some of your fun to this stream. It was great to have you come by. Much appreciated. Next level is house slippers. Yeah, for sure. There was a Conan the Librarian sketch. I do remember this. Oh my goodness. This stream is definitely Peggy 13. That is faux show. Ooh, those onions smell good, dude. Let's pop one. See if they're good all by themselves. They are pretty good. Ooh, I'm just gonna add a little flavor. Great flavor. Who wanted that? Hey, what's up, Invert? We are still working on the pizza, but I'm having a late dinner tonight. I am gonna waste the rest of this onion, but luckily we got like 1,000 of them for $1, so please don't be mad at me for wasting 40 cents or 5 cents for the food. I probably should have put that in a little container and saved it for later. But let's go back to the pizza. It's looking real good over there. I hope you guys are gonna get low enough. Hope you guys are as excited as I am. I've burned my face on this pan. Now remember, it is a cast iron pan. All parts of it are hot. So I do got my hot pot mittens here. You're gonna want something similar. You can use like the little square guys too, that just, you know, to grab it. There's a handle on each end. So if you got the little like square hot pot pads, you could just use those too and you'd be just fine. But make sure if you're new to cooking with cast iron that you pay a lot of attention to the fact that this whole thing is extremely hot. Now that this thing's up to 350, I'm gonna switch it to broiler. We're getting pretty close. It's really not yet ready for us to take a peek at the bottom. We're not quite up to temperature, I don't think. We're gonna give it just a little bit longer. At this point, you kind of have to guess. So we're gonna give it just a little bit longer and then we'll peek underneath and see how the bottom of the pie looks. Cooking it does not take very long, and if you're doing an assembly line scenario, you'll have another pizza coming along behind that one, right? So you're gonna slide that one off the burner, put the next one on. I'm not really to a place where I could do two simultaneously that are 4 minutes apart, but people could, right? And if you had followed the instructions and started the heat when we were very first putting the toppings on, we'd be a little bit further along at this point. I slow rolled it a little bit to make sure that I could pay good attention to the pizza and not burn it. But you know, when you do these frequently, if you're actually doing pizza 2 times a week, which is maybe more than most people should, you can get faster with this and you'll be able to cook them quicker. Hey, Eli's here. What's up, Eli? Welcome. I'm glad to have you join us, bud. Invert has a good point. He says cast iron and glass stovetops do not always agree. It is very critical if you're going to do that. Hang on, let me grab. There are a couple of different kinds of cast iron pans. And if you're going to do this, you want to make sure that you have a switch to, actually I can probably do it here. This is a flat bottomed pan in that nothing rises above. This is a depressed area, not a raised area. And this groove around the outside is depressed as well, not raised. So you can see this pan is perfectly flat and it's okay on a glass top. This other pan that I have here, this one is an unrestored, probably 25 or 30-year-old lodge skillet. This one has a raised lip with the notches around the edges. So you can see these 2 notches right here. And then there's another notch like right there. This raised edge is designed with those notches to sit on a gas stove that has the little rack and not move. That's what those notches are for. So you do not want to use this pan on that stovetop. It would be a very bad idea. What happens is this ridge becomes the place where all of the heat is transferring between the pan and the stovetop, and you can get too much heat in there and destroy the top, or you just scratch the hell out of it, which is another question. Gas is better in a lot of ways. I do not currently have gas at the house, but that's a someday thing. This pan you can still definitely use in the oven if you're making something inside there. This pan is still super useful. So I intend to do a full resto on this at some point. I don't know how to do it yet. I got to do some studying and learning so that it can have a cool and beautiful seasoning like this one. In here real quick. And now we're gonna check on the old stove cam. How are we doing? We're starting to get a little burning around the edges, which is good. That's what we want. So it's probably about time to start to take a peek underneath and see how we're doing. So I'm gonna grab my mitten here. We just got these new mittens. They're big and clunky. I don't really like them. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this metal one. We're gonna go underneath there and look at the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna try to bring you guys around. I'm sorry for the shaky cam. I think that will probably be pretty good. You can see the bottom of the pizza there is browning. It's pretty darn good, actually. But we're gonna let that sit there for just a little bit longer. Until we've got a little bit more even browning around, and we want those edges to burn. When I lifted the pizza there, I lifted it higher for you guys than I normally would. And that tore away the pizza from the sides of the pan a bunch. And then that is gonna that kind of isn't going to get as good of a browning crisp edge on that as we would hope. But that's okay. It's for demonstration purposes only. So I guess it's better. LOL. Yeah. I have watched Cowboy Kent Rollins before, just a couple of times, and he's got a video that I have bookmarked that I need to go back and watch about restoring an old pan. Throw it in a mixture of vinegar and water for a day or two to get rid of any rust. That would be pretty cool. Yes, Thomas, the wife, is fine with this. She was very supportive and thinks this is ridiculous and awesome. So lots of support there. So we've got the oven broiling up to 525 degrees. I'm just gonna take a look up underneath again. This looks pretty good. I think it just needs a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer over there. All right, we get it. Here's stove cam. Sorry, I should have switched cam earlier. Your pizza has arrived. My pizza is about to arrive. Once we go into the oven, this is a pretty fast process. It's just a few minutes. So your pizza's faster than mine, and I started first. So that's let that be a lesson, I guess. Scott says, Cowboy Kent Rollins makes good eats. That's true. That would be awesome. You're gonna time him out? Is that what's happening? All right, let's go back over there. We're gonna take another quick look here. Let's see how we're doing. I think we're probably good to go into the oven at this point. All right, let's do it. Okay. All right, so now I am gonna this camera over here. So now we're gonna have prep cam, which can now see stove cam, and stove cam is gonna be up close pizza cam in this region. Ooh, and matzo sticks. You are making me jelly, bro. For sure. Peek in here. Oh, okay, hold up. I'm gonna take you guys over here and show you what is going on inside. So we're just getting a little melting. A little hard to see there, but I don't want to stick the camera too far into the stove there. But starting to get a little bit of meltage on the cheese. We'll bring that out. We're gonna put it right here. I don't want this cutting board to suffer from too much heat. I know that you can do that. We have one thing, I like this cutting board a lot. One time we got it really hot and it worked. And then the next day when it cooled back down, I was like, never mind, I'm fine. So I've been a little worried about it ever since. So I'm gonna put some hot pads down here, but you probably shouldn't have to. Your mileage may vary on that. It just kind of depends on what you guys' techniques are for protecting the surfaces in your kitchen. Lots of named cams. That's right, dude. That's right. Okay. Just keep opening the oven, letting the heat out. Thanks, Invert. Yeah, but this is more of a visual spectacle than anything else. Dude, an oven cam, like in the oven, would be awesome, but I imagine that I don't have any equipment that can handle that. That's probably not a real thing for me. Plus, we're on broiler mode. That thing pours heat on there like nobody's business. Yeah. Bro, Chicago local spots are better than brands like... They totally are. Any local pizzeria brings something special to the table. Some of them are terrible, and the special thing they bring is garbage pizza, and some of them are fantastic. It's just kind of a good deal there for sure. Your camera would work for a second or two. I did watch... There was a cooking stream where they had a camera in the dishwasher, and for some reason they had dishes in there and then a Barbie doll and a Ken doll in the dishwasher, and it was just a stream of the dishwasher running. The food and drink category is weird. I've never streamed in this category before. By the way, if it's your first time here, thanks for joining us. If of course you've been here before, welcome back. My name's Clyde, and today we're making a pizza. Usually we do video games, but we are doing a special stream here about about pizzas, because we like pizza on our regular channel as well. I'm gonna go peek at that pizza. Hold on. Oh, dip. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be real good. I'm gonna let you guys check that out when it comes out here in a minute. This is my pizza cutter. It has like a little wheel. I like this one better than ones with handles because you can just put the pressure right where you're actually cutting rather than, oh, it definitely did invert, but don't worry. The pizza's mostly cooked already. All we're really doing is browning the cheese. That door went open again, didn't it? Are you never behind? Wait, hang on. You've never beheld a Toad PhD stream? No, I have not. I don't know what that is. Is that a thing that I need to go watch? Is that a cooking stream of some specific sort? Frostnite says, I didn't even know this channel existed, or this category existed. Yeah, they used to do IRL, and then when they brought out things like Just Chatting, this became an IRL stream. Let's not shout that out until we have visited that stream. I'm not sure if I should shout that out. However, I encourage anyone who is as curious as I am to go check that out. Sorry, MGen, you know, safety protocols, that sort of thing. But no worries there. I'm gonna go peek at that pizza again. Invert, I'm gonna open the oven again, just so you know. Holy shit, that looks so good. Oh man. I don't think anybody except for mods and myself can link it, but you've said the name a few times. You said it's Toad PhD. You guys can find it. You're resourceful. You know how the internet works. So I think you could link it, but it wouldn't come through. So don't worry about that. They'll sort it out. Is this a lickable toad? Oh boy. That's funny. Oh, he is. If he's live when I get offline here, I'll check it out myself for sure. I'd rather not link it without knowing what I'm sending people to. Obviously, you guys are adults, you know where you're going and everything. Barbecue would be good. I don't think I'm particularly good at barbecue, but actually that might be more entertaining to watch. I need to buy a new grill too. I saved some money over the winter. I was going to buy a new grill because my grill is garbage. That would be really good. I should go over to my buddy Dr. Evix's house. He's got a good grill and he makes all kinds of stuff. Okay, I think this is probably ready. I'm gonna pull it out. Heavy's like, barbecue? Hell yeah, son. Hell yeah. All right, let me grab, I'm gonna switch you guys over to stove cam, which is now right here cam. Get this thing out of here. All right, let me grab my mitts so that we can get our mitts on this delicious pizza. Gracious, look at this thing. Holy smokes, that looks good. Woo! Okay, what do you guys think? Does that look pretty good? Holy shnikes, that's really hot. Can you hear the sizzle on the stream? I bet you it's being noise canceled, but okay. Scooch up behind here. Bowmaster, was Bowmaster saying that he's gonna teach us how to barbecue? We're gonna pull this out pretty much right away because this pan is gonna hold heat for a very long time. So what I wanna do is pull that out. Look at this crustiness around the edge. Let's get this mouse out of here. Holy smokes. We'll bring it over here. Let me bring that up by the camera. Look at that crunchity, crispy edge. And this thing smells fantastic. I wish you guys could smell it, but you can't. Right now is the best time to get stuff out of this pan. Now, cast iron pans, people say that the seasoning's really fragile and that you can't, that you can't mistreat them or whatever. Most of those people are insane. You do need to make sure that you're maintaining your seasoning, but it's not like so fragile that you can't take care of it. You can use metal spatulas on cast iron stuff and you'll be fine. You just need to make sure that you're maintaining your seasoning as you go. So, to people who are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you scratched it, or I can't believe you washed it, or I can't believe whatever, chill out. It's fine, but you may need to re-season periodically, and that's okay because you want to do that anyway. So let's go back to stove cam. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this just to break loose, and I'm going to do it this direction if I can. any of these crunchies because they're going to be harder to deal with a little bit later. We want to break that loose. Okay, this is really well seasoned, and look how easily that pizza came out. There's like nothing on here that stuck, nothing that burned. This came out really well, and that's because I did a brief reseasoning just before we got started today, so it's actually in really good shape. These mitts, if you got big mitts, are pretty great. There's a link to these in the everything list. There's a link to this pan in the everything list, as well as all these cameras that we used as well today. So if that's something you guys are interested in adding to your kitchen toolkit, definitely check them out. As I said before, all of those are affiliate links. So if you buy something there, Amazon will give me a nickel. And Bezos will do another space launch, but don't feel like you have to do anything. The stream will be fine whether or not you guys buy junk from Amazon. So, okay, we're gonna come back to this beautiful. Oh, I should show you guys the bottom of that as well. Let's see how the bottom came out. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks fantastic. Beautifully made. Beautifully made. Oh my goodness. Okay. One thing that I did that I often do is I forgot to turn off the stovetop burner when I move this down into the oven. So that's definitely something to check out. And I recommend that you do that you take the, when you bring it down to the oven, pay attention. Try to make sure that you remember to turn off that stovetop burner, because if you don't, you're gonna leave it on and you might not remember it's on. You might set something over there like a hot pot mitten or your recipe or something like that and cause a problem. What is the heavy talking about? Dark Matter Demon says, excellent looking pizza, sir. Oh my gosh, thank you. Cast iron, this is the way. Listen, you don't have to go cast iron if you're uncomfortable with it. However, there's some good stuff there. Online Assassin asked the question, how do you reseason cast iron? Seasoning on a cast iron pan, in the simplest of terms, is a layer of what they call polymerized oil. Any cooking oil will work. So when you get a pan, there's a process for seasoning, and we can go over this sometime. Like if you guys want to do, like, I am not an authority on this. I might be able to recommend some good videos, but essentially you put a thin layer of oil on the pan and you heat it up until it starts smoking, and then you turn the heat off and you walk away. It's about a 10-minute process, not a big deal. It's not hard to do, but definitely recommend that if you're gonna work with cast iron, you understand how to get those layers of polymerized oil. It's not layers of oil that you want on there, just like get it wet with oil. You wanna get it wet, heat it up, and as it heats up, that oil will bond to the cast iron and produce a non-stick surface that is easy to lift things off of. Every once in a while when you're done cooking, you'll want to go ahead and re-oil it and then heat it up till it starts smoking and turn it off again. For me, it's about 10 minutes on the stove, 5 minutes on the stove on medium. And we use avocado oil. If you use, like you saw earlier, if you use olive oil or if you use just a regular cooking oil, it'll smoke a little bit earlier. The smoke point's a little bit lower, which is pretty easy. Heavy McD's got a recommendation. Grapeseed oil. Yeah, grapeseed oil is good. Avocado oil has a higher smoke point as well. But it kind of like whenever you get to that smoke point, that's indicating you've reached the right temperature for that oil to polymerize and to create that layer. So that's kind of the high level quick version of how that works. It's really easy to do. Some people never wash their pans and they just wipe them out with a paper towel. I think that's a little insane. It's okay to wash your pan. So I'll wash mine, I'll use soap, I'll use water. But when I'm done with that, I'll re-oil it and reheat it up again to make sure that it's got all the stuff that it needs to be good and non-stick when I come back around. And anytime you cook like an oily or greasy food in there, that's adding a layer of oil as well. And that's causing that's gonna add to your seasoning. Yeah, so Heavy McD is about to start a religious war with somebody who's not gonna fight back, but yeah, I'll use a little bit of soap and water on there. But when I'm done, we rinse it very well and we re-season it to restore anything that we lost with the soap. So if the oil is polymerized, it will be fine with a little bit of soap contact. I'm not scrubbing it, I'm not scraping it, we're not going hard, but we're making sure that we're not gonna, give myself or my family the typhoid fever or whatever. All right, let's go ahead and cut this. Let's go ahead and cut this pizza up. The way I don't cut this in triangles. I cut it into strips, but you could do it either way, whatever you want to do. little kosher salt. Yeah, I can see that working too, right? The salt's going to help to kill anything real nasty, or at least to resist it, right? And I like that you've gone kosher. Then I just turn the whole pizza, and one more cut right through there. Now's a great time to wash off your wheel here. There's a link to this thing in the everything list as well if you guys are interested in this. I think it's a really great one. The cool thing about this too is you can take the blade out and wash it independently later, and then this just goes back in the drawer until it comes back. I did have one of these for about 6 or 8 years where this axle, if you will, broke. So then I had to throw it away and get a new one. I bought the exact same one, and now I have 2 blades and one handler, which is really freaking cool because this one can be in the dishwasher, and I can still make another pizza the next day. So the way I wash it is I leave it put together, and I just turn the water on, and I spin the wheel, and then I flip it over, do the same thing. Obviously, we'll pop this out. We'll run it through the dishwasher as well. But it's really easy to get that oil off of the thing. So I'm gonna do that real quick. And then we'll dry this dude up. Burger shows up and says, "Oh my gosh, that looks so good." Yeah, dude, it's pretty good. Heavy says there's a good chance we'll be making pizza heavy in the Heavy household this weekend now. Do it, buddy. Dude, there's so many good recipes out there. This is just one, right? And Ragusea's recipe is awesome. By the way, guys, do exclamation point Ragusea, please. Bo, can you do that if you haven't done it recently? Again, I cannot give enough credit to Adam Ragusea, YouTube chef, who shared this recipe with me because it's awesome. And he's an insanely popular YouTuber. You guys should definitely go watch his video. He's got an incredible quality of video production, a great cadence, and he makes his recipes entertaining. It's fun to watch him talk about them, and of course, it's this kind of stuff. It's really good. So let me go back to the old stove cam here. I'm gonna tuck this thing just in the drawer where it goes. And in fact, I'm gonna do the thing that I said I was gonna do. I'm gonna grab the other blade that's in here, and I'm gonna put it in this thing, and it's ready to go for our next pizza. Pretty cool. Okay, I know that sounded like a Ron Popeil electric food dehydrator style infomercial for that pizza cutter, but I love that pizza cutter. After the cast iron pan, it might be some of the best stuff that I've got. You want to see, look at this, look at this. Beautiful crisp. Oh! Started to lose the topping even though I tried not to. Dude, that's really good. Woo! That is really good. Get a drink over here. Does anybody have any questions that I didn't answer while we were going? I was around the kitchen, I was bebopping everywhere, and I did a bunch of different stuff, and I'm certain that I missed a question. Now, it looked like I had great support in chat. The rest of you guys helping to answer questions and talk about stuff. Online Assassin, thanks for the follow, bud. I'm glad to have you here. Oh yeah, we'll get you some more. So here's the, oh here, let me switch to, watch this, we'll have it come by. Like a drive-by. Got a little bit of green onion on there, just gives it a little bit of kick. Now this is the bread. It's kind of spongy a little bit. It's very light, full of lots of bubbles because we let it rise for like 3 days, right? And then there's the bottom, right? Those big bubbles underneath, nice crisp, blackened sides and everything. Fantastically good pizza. Slice king. Flying to John Wayne. We can bring one of these down too, buddy. I'm sure you'd love it. Dude, if we ever get to the point where we have to do a Clyde con, like an actual conference where thousands of my adoring fans show up, we will teach a cooking class. I will, if we're that famous, I will invite Adam Ragusea to teach me how to make this pizza. and pay him handsomely for showing up. And you guys will all get a slice of this pie. It's going to be fantastic. Dude, it's so good. I'm sorry that you guys can't have it. I genuinely am. That we don't have pizza and that you guys aren't all able to enjoy some pizza yourselves. It's not polite to eat in front of you, no, but I'm going to do it for a little bit longer. You guys have been a fantastic audience tonight, man. I appreciate it. The pepperoni is pretty good. That's a good question. So that was Online Assassin. I was hoping that, let me switch back to the other camera here. I was hoping that we'd have like some crispier edges, you know, around the edge of the pepperoni. So it looks pretty good, but I think it could be a little crisper, like this kind of crisp, but on the pepperoni here is what I was really going for. And it didn't really work out. Unfortunately, it's still good because it's freaking pepperoni, right? And if you ever had pepperoni pizza, like, you know all about it. I did show them step by step. This is an easy pizza to make. And again, if you make the pizza right now, tomorrow or the next day, if you make, when we talked at the beginning about making multiple dough slugs, you can make 2, 4, 8 dough slugs, have those in your fridge, and then you can make pizza like every day until you're out of dough, dude. It's awesome. Joker. Oh man, that was a good bite. You guys really missing out. But again, in about an hour's time, you know, and a little bit less, honestly, if you have the dough made ahead of time, and that's actually the best way to go. I'm definitely eating this pizza in front of you. It's freaking fantastic too. I highly recommend watching this video again if you guys want to make this pizza. Either onions make my nose run. Either on VOD or on YouTube when it comes out. I'll do a slightly edited version of this to tighten up some of the time probably. I probably won't edit much of it. We're gonna leave it relatively live, relatively raw. And then definitely you can check out Adam Ragusea's version. He's got a couple of different versions of this recipe that he made. You guys are freaking hilarious. I made a practice pizza. And it was not as good as this one. This one is better. You guys were the magic ingredient. Let me, look at that. It's a little bready. You could maybe a little bit less on the rise, you know, like if I made this pizza yesterday, the dough yesterday, it'd be a little bit thinner, but it's still super, really good. The sauce is great. I think I got the right amount of pepper in there this time. A couple of big shakes of black pepper. It gives that sauce just a little bit more kick. It's fantastic. Yeah, I really don't know how to end this stream now, but I'm hungry because I have not eaten in 8.5 hours. Are you eating this entire pizza? No, I'm gonna eat some of it. As long as you guys are still conversational, I'm gonna keep chatting with you. This is now a just chatting stream where I eat a pizza. You guys are awesome. I'm bragging on you, man. I'm dying here. No, but I am telling you that I put about twice that much pepper, maybe 3 times as much pepper in last time. My wife took a bite. She's like, I'll try a slice. She has a bite. She's like, oh. Like, it was too much pepper, and it was pretty hot. It was pretty, even, you know, black pepper is not particularly spicy, but I put enough in there to give myself some trouble. Well, guys, I think we'll wrap it up right there. Hang on a minute. Let me wash it down with my non-sponsored green soda. Why is it not invisible? Because there's no green screen. We should raid somebody. You guys want to raid somebody with me? Let me grab my headset so I can hear what they're saying. Go this way. Right? Come on. Come on, buddy. Okay. I have never rated anybody in the food and feasting category. Thank you, by the way, guys, thank you so much for coming and being a part of the stream today. This was huge for me. We've never done anything like this before. And if you enjoyed this content, I would be happy to do more kitchen stuff again. I don't know how to make a ton of food. That might be some of the entertainment value, is watching me learn how to make stuff that I have no idea what I'm doing. The pizza, this is something I know how to do. I've done this many times, and this one came out really good, so I'm glad that it did. And I hope that you guys try this pizza yourself. Remember to check out Adam Ragusea on YouTube. His content is awesome, and this is really just me showing you how easy it is to make his pizza. If you guys decide that any of those cooking utensils, or even the cameras and microphones and stuff that I used to make this, are interesting to you, go ahead and buy those on Amazon. If you choose to do that, I will get a small kickback, and I thank you very much for supporting the channel that way. It is not required. No one has to support this channel. I do this because it's a fun hobby for me. If you guys choose to, it means a ton. If I missed anybody who subscribed or followed or anything, thank you very much for those subscriptions and follows. We may be back in the future doing a cooking stream again. Who knows? I can't tell you that. I don't know. But the pizza was one that I very on brand for the Clyde Plays live stream anyway, and I definitely wanted to share this with all y'all today. You can check out that pizza recipe. It's up on my Google Docs. You can find that in my Discord. If you guys are interested in hanging out with us between, meatloaf stream would be amazing. Hanging out with us between streams, we are on that Discord all the time. Myself, Scotta, and a lot of these wonderful people in chat. So I definitely recommend coming and spending some time with us again in the future. I had an absolute blast cooking this pizza with you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. I don't know anybody in the food and drink category, so I'm going to raid someone who I don't know, and I want you guys, when you get over there, to be cool, be nice, be supportive, and if you're interested in what they're making, stick around and watch the stream. We're gonna raid somebody named BBStellarBee. I don't know who she is, but it looks like she's making some food in a nice little kitchen, and I hope you guys have a great time. I will post some pictures of the pizza on Discord. Thank you, Thomas. That's a great idea. Thank you so much for coming and being a part of the show tonight, guys. Come back and see us again. We're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Twitter, we're right here in front of you right now. And I hope you all have a fantastic night. Go over there, be nice to BBStellarBee. If you get there and you're one of my subscribers, hit her with a pizza emote, please. And have a fantastic night. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.